Hello, I'm Megan Jones, editor at Call Centre Helper, and I'm delighted to be here today with Stephen Miller, who is a complaints specialist, to chat through how you can actually use complaints to your advantage. So, Stephen, if you want to set the scene here, what normally happens with complaints in call centres?
Of course, well, first of all, thank you so much for having this call with me. It's obviously a pleasure to finally meet you. I'm very happy to have the conversation with you. In terms of the complaint journey specifically, so what typically happens is that customers had a poor experience in regards to whether it's a product or a service that they've received. They register a complaint that normally comes through the first line service levels. If it's not resolved in the first line service levels, that typically goes to an escalated complaints team, or it should go to an escalated complaints team. Normally, what happens then is that there's an initial contact to obviously understand the reason for the complaint, what the facts are of the matter, what the facts are of the complaint, and obviously, it's the mission of whomever it is that's got ownership of that particular complaint to try and resolve it. That's from typically from start to finish. So ideally, it should be the case. Complaint comes in, someone picks it up, and it should see it through from start to finish. That should be the case.
So that's very much on a case by case basis, dealing with
Yes.
complaints in isolation. And obviously, there's a lot more that can be gained here by looking at the root cause analysis, what's going on behind the scenes, and potentially why a lot of customers are having that same issue. So, if we take a closer look at root cause analysis, how can that be applied?
Yeah, so things like root cause analysis. So I guess without that, essentially, what you're doing is that you're just sort of fixing the same problem over and over. You're not actually sort of getting to the bare bones of the issue to try and resolve what fundamentally is causing that problem. So techniques like the five whys. So what that entails is just typically, and again, it's more simple than it seems. It's just literally asking why multiple times to sort of understand the full depth of ultimately sort of why this complaint is happening. So why did this happen? Why does it keep happening? Why does it happen to the same group of customers? Things like that. Things like the fishbone diagram as well. So that's a technique that I've utilized as well. And again, it's literally more simple than it sounds. It's literally, if you just imagine the skeleton of a fish, you've got the head, you've got the spine, you've got the bones, and then you've got the smaller bones. The way that that looks at, so if you look at the head, so the problem or the effects that you're trying to solve, the spine, which is sort of like the main line, sort of leading to the head. So where does that go to? The bones, the categories of the potential causes, sort of which are branching then off the spine, and then the smaller bones, sort of like the sub causes or the contributing factors as well. So it's just making sure that you're doing the full investigation, not just looking at it at a service level, but making sure that you're really kind of getting into the full cause or the full cause of that complaint, full cause of the issue. Because if you're putting plasters on broken legs, it's not going to fix the broken leg.
Amazing. So, from everything you've said so far, it's really about not just looking at one complaint in isolation, it's taking time to sit down with your team and apply some structure techniques and different thinking to do some root cause analysis and just really pull that issue apart. I'm assuming then to make sure that things are done so these things don't happen again. So, what does that next phase look like then when you've got all of this insight from say, the five whys? How do you then feed it out into the wider business and the contact center to make sure change actually happens?
So it's all part of a feedback loop, and it depends how driven the company is to make sure that they are fully efficient in regards to sort of the complaint resolution process. Because a lot of companies and a lot of call centers, the best way to treat a complaint is to treat complaint as a gift, complete it, to treat it as an opportunity. Now, it's all good and well for companies to say, it's like, oh, that well, they've reached record profits, record sales, and things like that. The true marker of how good a company is actually how they respond to the complaints, how they respond to how things go wrong.